Hello and welcome back to Let's Play Pillars of Eternity with me, Break It Dawn. Go and loot the tent. Okay, we've seen that before. Dark was trying to study his perceived enemies. Trollhide belt. +1 endurance per 3 seconds. We've seen this before. I'm pretty sure we've seen this before, right?
Yeah.
We'll read it anyway. The spell's been crafted from the mossy hide of a forest troll, the intertwined vines and leaves forming a solid and resistant piece of clothing. Any damage done to the belt tends to be obscured by new growth, but the moss and small plants which grow upon the belt retain some life. The resulting effect is somewhat like wearing a herb garden around one's waist. A piece of hide holds some of the troll's power, granting the wearer the creature's ability to recover from wounds.
Yeah.
Pretty sure we found that in a dungeon, didn't we? Let's go and rest up since there's some... Never mind. Oh, thank you. I thought we'd never get out of there. What happened? Things started off well enough. The commander was even polite. One of the delegates points an accusing finger at another, a woman standing apart from the rest. We might have come to terms if she hadn't goaded him, shouting at him about omens and curses, demanding he leave the march. You know how superstitious the Sirens are. The commander went white as a sheet. She sabotaged the meeting. The woman in question is dressed in unassuming robes. She bears the accusation silently, her eyes closed as if in prayer. Who are you? With desperate speed, the woman suddenly lunges sidelong towards a nearby rack and seizes a dagger lying there. She sets the blade to her own throat. Now seen to all but yourself, the dying woman's soul essence coils in thin wisps about her body. It only grows brighter as her corpse stills. The remaining delegates stare in horror at her pooling blood. Manea kneels by the dying woman and inspects her robes. She examines a crescent medallion hanging around the woman's neck. What just happened? Darn it. Now we'll never get an answer out of her. Did they pull your names out of a hat when they put this delegation together? We all volunteered. You seem perfectly normal. A little intense, maybe. Read the woman's soul. You reach out and brace against the sudden flare of pain and fear, digging after less recent events. There's a copper taste in your mouth, and a pain like fire in your throat. Under the brute terror of death, you find a comforting thread of resolve, of satisfaction and duty fulfilled. You follow it. It leads you stumbling into another memory, as whole and vivid as the first. You walk the dark halls of an abbey, dimly lit and quiet, your footsteps loud. A blur, and you are standing in a dimly lit room, facing a robed Amoa. You recognize him as Kyoto, the High Abbot. He beckons you forward. Examine your surroundings. You're in a wide, rounded chamber. The tiles beneath your feet are covered in strange, curling symbols. You recognize them as symbols of Andra, goddess of sea and memory. The memory blurs. When your sight is clear, you are standing in front of Kyoto, and he is smiling gently down at you.
Drive the Sirens from these mountains, and you may yet spare many lives. The Tidebringer will be here in a week's time. Should you be delayed in your travels, report to him as you would to me. He will enter the reliquary and call off the army of Eyeless in my stead. If you are caught, sister, you know what you must do. I will pray for your return, but we will take comfort in the knowledge that you have joined the rest of Andra's favorite in her keeping.
He sets a hand on your shoulder. The words draw you loose from the memory, flinging you back into the moment of the woman's death, and then into your own skin. But traces of her memory join yours. You know the path to the abbey to which she was to return, buried in the mountains to the north. Is the name Eyeless familiar to anyone? The Eyeless. They're a figure of speech, when you can't remember something. You say, "Must be the Eyeless took it from me." Yes, but there's a story to it. It's supposed to do the bidding of the Lady of Lament. Andra points, and they come, out of nowhere, wipe things from the face of the world. That's why whenever something up and goes missing, or gets destroyed with no one there to see it, you're supposed to thank Andra that the Eyeless didn't come for you too. Do you know a Kyoto? Kyoto? Oh yes. He came through town some time back. Stopped at the temple in Stalwart. This was just after the town decided to rededicate it to Abaddon. He didn't seem too pleased about it. He was dressed like a priest. Maybe he took offense. He's an Amoa. Tall fellow. Very polite, considering he's apparently the leader of some fanatical sect. I think it's clear we haven't been the best judges of character recently. Do any of you know what a Tidebringer is? Tidebringer? That's something they used to talk about at the Temple of Andra, I think. It's a person. A title, I mean. Tends to be used in the more devout circles. I feel like I just asked this, but clear out the dialogue. What about the Eyeless? Have you heard of them? Alright, read all that already. I just talk in circles? Do you know anything about the Abbey to the north? I've heard of something like that. An Andrite stronghold. Not the kind of place that welcomes visitors. Nea's eyes widen. That sounds like the Abbey of the Fallen Moon. Is that where she came from? Delegate points to the dead woman. Yes, and it's where I'll find the reliquary, so I can call off their army. What, another one? Gods. Feels like everyone in Eora is after the battery now. Why would these Andrites want the raid Sirens out? I doubt it's for Stalwart's benefit. Competition, maybe? Looks like I did their work for them. If you do mean to go to this abbey, be careful. There have been stories about traders wandering north, getting scared off or even killed by strange guards. That's the place, alright. They're a secretive bunch. I suppose you could always try to sneak in. I doubt you'd be welcome otherwise. It sounds like this Tidebringer would be. Welcome, I mean. Yeah, skulking around isn't really my style. Well, you'll get your fill of fighting, A sudden deafening crash from outside makes the delegate jump, startled. A rumbling like thunder follows. You hear further sounds of smashing timbers, panic screaming. Oh no, what's happening? I thought you took care of the soldiers. Shrug and walk away. Yes, well, we'll wait here. Inside.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, let's look at her body as well. What are those things?
What are those things?
Excellent question.
side!
Hey, I think they're attacking my dog. Or my heal got cancelled there. Does present a problem. Sorry, I had to take a pause there. It was
Let's
a
try
couple
that.
sneezes I had to get out. They're immune to burn and shock. I'm wasting my time with some of these abilities. Well, that is unfortunate. And resistant to slash. Let's go get Moonwell out, then we'll swap him, turn him into the Stelgar. And try to have him do some other work. I never got Moonwell off. Whoops.
Tell me. Alright, so all three of them should be focusing on the same one. My Paladin is on this one, along with Ravius.
He's immune to blinded, but I should do more damage with this attack regardless. Oh, that was a waste because they're immune to shock damage. Oh, shoot. Well, what else do I got? Alright, this is a surprisingly difficult fight. Not one that I was at all prepared for.
Yeah. Good arms.
Don't even slow.
That didn't work. Let's go. Let's. Yeah.
Yeah, geez Louise. I guess that's supposed to be your reason for sneaking into the, was it Temple of the Fallen Moon? Instead of trying to fight your way in. As the last mage folk falls, a tide of essence sweeps through the ether. It washes over you, and you find yourself in the memories of the Eyeless. Sound's still going on. The hulking creatures surround you, the sinew-wrapped skeletons clanking and screeching in the semi-darkness. Their bodies fill the air with the tang of metal and the musk of sweat. The cavern in which you stand, it looks like a cavern anyway, goes with a dim, ambient light. Steel flashes as the eyeless shift and stir. They stamp their feet and their feet and groan in rasping metallic voices. Their restless energy prickles at the back of your neck. And in the echoing rumble, you hear something familiar. It's the pounding noise from your dream, the harbinger of a terrible army. You begin to wonder how many Eyeless are crowded around you. You suspect there must be scores of them, maybe more. It's difficult to tell how far back this chamber goes, or where it is. Ahead, you see a glint of light. It might be an exit. Already, however, the vision is starting to fade. Explore further into the chamber. You push past the lumbering Eyeless and cling to the wilting shreds of the vision. The cavern broadens before you. It swells with echoes until you hear the growling, grinding sounds of the Eyeless all around. You pull yourself onto a glowing, crystalline outcropping and survey the expanse of blunt heads and piston arms. There aren't scores of them. There are hundreds. The vision ends, returning you to the frozen and blood-churned mud of the fort.
You don't mess around when you make enemies, do you?
These abominations stink of a god's cowardice.
Alright, the Crossed Eye, rewards 35% experience, Frost Patch, some copper and treasure, an average item, and a major item. In the Court of Bowing Ashes, or Bowing Ashes, stands a towering Audra statue intertwined with living trees. Dating back to the Ingwithans, it is believed to represent an Orlan ruler of that lost empire. The natural progress of time has done some damage to it. The Gonfathans remember one act of vandalism against it from the early colonial days. During the chaos of the Brokenstone War, Adir explorers ventured deep into Ir Glanfath, made their way to the Court of Bowing Ashes, and scaled the statue to break loose a single eye, large as Amoa's head, and made of pure Audra bond? Most of the members of that band were captured and killed by the Glanfathans, but the eye was never recovered. In recent years, rumors have spread through the Eastern Reach that a new owner of the eye has been attempting to sell it through covert markets. The Anamfatha of at least 3 tribes would reward anyone who recovered it. Sounds like a job for Sagani.
Yeah.
So you may hear me muting my mic every now and then, because I'm sneezing a ton this morning. Quite a stalwart right away. Gods, the size of them. You saved us. Again. That's what I do. Oh,
I guess we should be flattered that someone sent those things after us. But I would have preferred a card.
she wipes a slick of gore from her neck, sniffs at her blood-streaked hand and shrugs.
I'd heard rumors of the Eyeless, but I always thought that name was a metaphor. Though I would have called them Mace Hands of Doom, if anyone had asked me.
Nod non-committally.
So this is the mysterious army you've been dreaming about, huh? It's a wonder you're getting any sleep.
That's why we're going to the Abbey, to stop them.
I'm regretting all of my decision-making up to this point.
She sighs.
Still, I guess a suicidal plan is better than none.
I thought you'd be happy. Been looking for the Abbey a long time.
I know, it's just...
She grumbles with exasperation.
Well, knowing that I'm finally close to getting rid of this memory, it feels like it's crowding my head that much more.
She paces and locks her fingers into her hair.
It's been with me for decades. Driven me halfway across the known world.
She throws her hands up. This would be easier if you just told me what you remember. She stops pacing and sighs.
You're right.
Listen.
It was a war. Centuries ago, before Adiran unification.
She folds her hands in front of herself.
I was a soldier then. Led a campaign across the northern forests to subdue some of the outlying Kalklan villages. Brutal work.
I don't understand. What war?
This was 500 years ago, when Adir was a folk kingdom on one side and elven country on the other. They fought on and off before they joined. Now the folk and elven rulers marry to keep the peace.
Go on.
Right, the campaign. Lost a third of my forces to the forest, and another third to the elven scouts hiding in it. By the time we reached the first village, we'd crushed their defenses, and they'd bled us.
She shakes her head.
Wasn't much more than children and the elderly left, but they spit on us when we marched into town.
A scowl twists her face. Her eyes are cold.
The village elders surrendered and offered us lodging in the old meeting hall. And when the sun set, they tried to burn it down around us.
She closes her eyes.
They barely got a flame going, but that wasn't the point.
What was it?
In their defiance, I saw months more of pointless, bloody battle as we fought for the rest of the region. I had to break them. And I had to send a message to the rest of the villages.
Her hands shake as she raises them to cover her face.
So I nailed every last one of them to the trees around the town and left them there to die.
What happened then?
I never remembered more.
She shrugs.
Eventually, Adir and Culklin united. The gentlefolk forgave each other for what they'd done to each other's people.
I'm going to ask option 2, but she obviously did more than just kill them. You killed those villagers to prevent more fighting.
That's what I kept telling the troops.
She's quiet for a long time before she speaks again.
But if I'm honest, I was angry. I wanted to see pain. And I wanted to be the one holding a blade.
You've been a mercenary and a pirate in this life. Is that really so different?
I've done my share of fighting these 40-odd years. But I've never drawn my blade just to watch someone bleed. And I've never drawn it on someone who didn't have his own in hand.
I feel like I don't know her well enough to say it wasn't her. It is terrible. You've got no reason to hold on to a memory from, well, I want to say that. Let's say that's terrible.
Don't I know it?
She wipes at her face with the heel of her hand.
Anyway, we should get going.
She shoulders her pack. You catch a glimpse of something unusual in it. A thick roll of cloth bound by leather. What's that?
Something I've been saving for better days.
She tucks it away. What you got for me? What's your thing with Pallegina? She's just so earnest. I've always had a thing for women in armor. The accent doesn't hurt either. Manea turns a deeper shade of blue. I need to remember to have Pallegina in the party and ask her that question again. I want to see if Pallegina has any dialogue. Which I see her being deflective. Alright, let's get out of here.
I'm here.
Did have a slight concern. Alright, so the sword is fine. We'll have to swap out the axe. If I had another sword. I don't want to give her the soulbound one. She's not going to remain in my party after the DLC. Where are the swords at? Flails, Estocks. Oh, here it is. I'm sorry, I was just looking at the soulbound. Okay. Since those Eyeless are immune to slashing damage, it's no good to have that axe equipped. Good, it's already corrosive, which saves us having to navigate around their burn or shock immunity. Actually, what are the effects of this sword? Oh, this will come in handy. As with this, considering how much damage we were taking in that fight. Another concern I have is this. It should be Pierce as well, right? Oh no, just Crush? Seems a little silly, considering it has spikes on it, but what do I know? Also, I don't know why I keep thinking the Eyeless immune to Crush. I know it's slashing. That's why I just swapped Manea's to swords that have Pierce as well. Alright, get rid of that guy and grab the Glenvathan Soul Hunter.
Huh?
What do I need to do here? We should probably rest up, but I think we need to report to this guy, don't we? And what I might do next episode is respec the Devil of Karak. That she's using just one-handed weapon, though I don't think she's even committed to this. That's the wrong person. Yeah, I don't think I ever grabbed her the dual wield talents. Should be able to just give her or get rid of the rapier. I think she has anything that requires dual wielding. Yeah, let's just get rid of this. If I'm wrong, so be it. Yeah, that should give her an accuracy bonus as well. Cool. Alright, I'm gonna call it here. Next episode, we'll try to report to this guy. We'll rest up, and I guess we'll just go to the Abbey of the Fallen Moon. And potentially fight our way inside. But for now, thanks for watching. Hope to see you guys in the next one.